Hi, everyone, and welcome to Benchmark Metals Live Investment Summit today, hosted by SIX. We are joined today by Jim Greig, President and Director of Benchmark Metals. Jim will walk us through a company presentation, and then we'll be accepting questions live. You can submit your questions at any time on the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your screen. And as always, the summit is being recorded and will be available on SIX.com afterwards. Without further ado, I'll hand it to you, Jim.
Good, thank you, Dasha. Thanks all for joining here on the update to the Lawyers Gold Silver project at Benchmark Metals. The initial slide here is a very good representation of the ground that we're on. As you can see, it's fully road access worthy. There's a good network of roads across the entire property. You can actually see a few of our trucks parked here next to the drill rig. Just on a background for those who are new to this company, this is a former producer from 30 years ago. So there's a legacy and a history of gold and silver production. However, the story is very much different this time. We are looking at bulk tonnage opportunities and potential for a very large world-class mine with a decision with more work and exploration over the next 2 years. A disclaimer, just to note, we are a Toronto venture listed company, so there are implicit investment risks with becoming involved in this. However, as we go through the presentation, I hope to show that we are severely de-risking this project and creating some big value for shareholders. The project's located in north central British Columbia. It's in an area that we like to call the Golden Horseshoe as opposed to the Golden Triangle. Benchmark belongs to a larger group, the Metals group of companies. We have colleagues and sister companies, if you will, that are operating for different metals in different areas of the world. And all of the other companies are reporting some good results as well. So please visit metalsgroup.com for more information. Key to any investment story here is really based on management rather than results, because the management will bring you the capital and the results and the growth in the stock. Myself, I'm president and one of the original founders of the company. I've got well over 25 years experience in the mining sector. One of my key colleagues and partners and founders of this story is John Williamson. John's an exceedingly good technician. He's helped grow this company very quickly since 2018. John's a 30-year veteran within the mining sector. As you look through the stable here, there's a whole cast and characters, but have all got serious experience in taking new discoveries to production decisions. We recently added a significant professional engineer to our company, Ian Harris. Ian has built mines before. He's been involved in some large takeout stories as well. Unfortunately, Ian's not joining me on this presentation, but Ian is one of the senior people involved in growing this asset to a production decision. I will have to note, though, we have raised in excess of $400 million, the group of us. This has all gone towards building companies and building wealth, and you can see that in the track history. As I mentioned, the Golden Horseshoe concept here. You can see a lot of British Columbia companies always report on the Golden Triangle. Well, the Golden Triangle actually has no geological boundaries or value. You can make the Golden Triangle as small or as large as you like. But the real concept here is the horseshoe. You can see this Golden Horseshoe surrounding the margins of the Bowser Basin. Essentially, the Bowser Basin is filled with till cover that can run from meters to several hundred meters, or perhaps even well over a kilometer within the center. But as you go around the margins of the basin, this is where you find the mineralized rock and the age of rocks that are reporting new mines and formerly producing mines. So you can see to the eastern side, Benchmark's Lawyers Project. If you were to go straight to the western side of the horseshoe, you can see companies such as Pretium, the SK Mine, Premier, and Red Mountain. All of these other projects are reporting the same age gold, silver mineralization and the same age rocks as we are seeing here at the Lawyers Project. And so that's key to this story. The age of rocks is reporting very good gold and silver numbers, and it's proven with other prolific explorers and producers around the basin. Infrastructure is always an important concern when you're looking to build a new mine. Because of the legacy of former production 30 years ago, we have a very good road network. We can drive right to the drill site. 13 kilometers away from this project, there's a very good airstrip. We've been using this airstrip on occasion. In the 1980s, they were landing Hercules aircraft on this airstrip. But another key piece of information is the world-class Kemess gold copper mine, which lies 4 or 5 kilometers straight to the southeast of our project. We actually drive past the Kemess mine on our way to the Benchmark site. This is just an example of building a mine in a very prolific area. We're actively upgrading the roads as well. We've actually increased the tonnage to over 60-ton capacity on 3 of the bridges, leading to the network of roads and bridges to our site. And so this just adds to the value here with direct road access and not having the need for helicopter access on a daily basis. Our corporate objectives here, we've got some very large milestones set up not only through 2021, but going into 2022. In Q4 of last year, we finished drilling in mid-December. We're still receiving drill results from the lab. We're still processing some of these results, but we're disseminating them and anticipate to disseminate more results right through to early March period. During Q1, probably closer to the end of March, in about 6 weeks' time, we anticipate releasing a brand new maiden bulk tonnage mineral resource estimate. This is all based on historical work, but also drilling that Benchmark completed in 2018, 2019, and 2020. On the back of this resource estimate, we will look to produce a new preliminary economic assessment. This would come out perhaps around midsummer period, so July. We've already conducted a lot of engineering work, environmental and permitting work in order to support this new PEA. But along the same time frame, Q3 and Q4 of this year, we'll be commencing a minimum 100,000 meter drill program. This will be to further advance the project with anticipation to update a new resource estimate, but also work towards a feasibility study in 2022. And so a feasibility study really is a hallmark milestone event, because at feasibility, then you make the decision to put shovels in the ground and build a mine. And we fully believe we are working towards this, especially with the cash position in the treasury. We are fully funded to complete the bulk of all of this work. On the corporate snapshot, there's approximately 157 million shares outstanding. Our cash position is just over 35 million shares, but in addition, or $35 million cash rather. Key to this though is that we have a large amount of warrants and options that are currently in the money. So these warrants are actually being exercised on a regular basis, and we're starting to see additional cash trickle into the treasury. The total of the warrants and options that are in the money right now would generate approximately another $9 million. And we believe as time progresses here over the coming months that these warrants will be activated, and this will set us up for approximately a $40 million cash position. We also have warrants and options that are priced at a higher level. And so as we hit these milestones of a resource estimate and a PEA this year, we anticipate that the warrants priced at the average of $1.75 will also be a source of additional cash into the company. So on our larger raise we did in the fall of last year, we had some exceptionally good institutional support from the likes of Merck Capital, Van Eck, and Franklin Templeton. And as a general rule, most of these companies don't participate until you have completed a resource estimate. So I think the fact that their participation came early just lends itself to the strong technical capability, but also the real value in this project going forward. And of course, a key shareholder in the company is Eric Sprott, who owns approximately 20% of the company. And we're now getting good analyst coverage from a variety of sources, but Sprott Capital has been providing updates on a regular basis. And now we're starting to see support from Claris Securities and PI Financial. On the value curve here, the opportunity really is to get into this story now. With some major milestones around the corner, we can see the market cap of this company move to multiples. There truly is an opportunity for multiple returns on the stock price. Currently, we're sitting at over 150 million market cap. We're probably closer to 170 million today. And we believe with these milestones, we'll get closer to the likes of some other comparable companies such as Skeena Resources or Marathon Gold. And both of those are close to a $500 million market cap. So given we're trending at about 170 million, you could see in a short time period that there's perhaps a 3 times multiple in the stock price could be achieved with these results that we're talking about. And so that's the opportunity, is get into the story now, hold your position, and watch Benchmark create new results and grow a large resource estimate. A snapshot of the package here. It's a 140 square kilometer package. This map you see on the left-hand side of the screen is a topographical map that's been overlaid with radiometric geophysics. And in the center of the map, you can see the red circles. Those red circles are our new resource areas that will report to the mineral resource estimate at the end of March, just around the corner here in about 6 weeks' time. You can see the pink and red hues that are glaring, and these are from the radiometrics, potassic alteration that is shown at surface. Essentially here, we have a long 20-kilometer trend that has brand new targets across the entire package. So the real story here is we've got 3 resource areas that are growing. They remain open. We'll be drilling them again this year, and we think we can expand these areas. But in addition to that, we have some phase 2 and phase 3 exploration targets that we believe have the same potential as the heart of the property. So when we say at the opening slide here that we're targeting 5 million ounces, we truly are. We believe the resource potential in the center of the property from the Cliff Creek zone, Dukes Ridge zone, and AGB zone, those zones could get us to in excess of 5 million ounces with additional work this year. But I think what truly sets this property different from others is these new targets will generate ounces for us not only in 2021 as we drill test them, but in future years. So there is world-class potential on this asset package. There's no question. You can see a table of some of the results at the bottom here. More recently, we put out a big bulk tonnage number of 69 meters of near 1.8 grams gold, but also 1,700 grams silver. So it truly is a gold and silver package. It's gold by value, but by quantity, this really is a silver mine. On the left side, you can see some of the narrower, very big, high-grade results. 3 meters of near 260 grams gold, but well over 3,000 grams silver. Moving ahead into some of the more technical information and the geological model. This is a low sulfidation epithermal system. It's predominantly a shallow northwest dipping sequence of volcanic and sedimentary rocks. The major structure, it's a series of trending faults that trend to the northwest. The fracture systems acts as conduits for fluids as they rise from depth to surface, and that's where you see precipitation of the metals and the potassic alteration at surface. Alteration with proximity to the mineralized zones. There's a range of different alteration assemblages, and these are all recognized with propylitic, hematitic, argillaceous, silica and potassic alteration. On the mineralization, there's predominantly 2 discrete styles of mineralization on this package. And I spoke to them on the previous slide, but you see these big, long, broad zones of multi-phase hydrothermal breccias that contain abundant to fine to medium-grained sulfides. But often you see native gold and silver, and it's often the silver is wrapped up in electrum. But the second style of mineralization is this high-grade discrete veining, and it's not particularly a vein system, but these sheeted systems that have high-grade material over 1 to 4 meters. And these high-grade areas are within the center of these broad, wide hydrothermal breccia systems. And so the 1 to 4 meter areas are reporting the high grades of semi-massive sulfides, and this includes acanthite, the sulfites, chalcopyrite, pyrite, and of course native silver. As mentioned here, this is the center of the property, and this is the area previously in the other slide where you saw the 3 red areas that we're advancing for the resource. It's a makeup of 3 large zones, the largest zone being the Cliff Creek zone. The second, or perhaps most valuable area, in addition to Cliff Creek, is the AGB zone to the top right of the slide here. And so this is approximately a 4 by 5 square kilometer area. But key to this is the target that we announced early in 2020. It's an exploration target. We were reporting up to 1.9 million ounces of gold equivalent ounces, grading 1.7 grams gold equivalent, and that was explicitly for the Cliff Creek area. But in addition to that, there will be ounces reported from the Dukes Ridge zone in the center and the AGB zone. So the depressed areas that you see on this slide are pit shells that we generated from data in 2019. And so 2019 does not include all the work that we did last year in 2020. So these zones, they have all grown. They're open at depth, they're open on strike, and certainly open on width. So our drilling in 2020 has grown all of these areas significantly. We completed 87,000 meters of drilling in 2020. We're still reporting drill results. If you were to look at our news releases from January and February of this year, you'll see a stellar release of news every 1 to 2 weeks. It's high density drilling that we completed in 2020. We believe the majority of the resource will be in the measured and indicated category, which lends itself to more de-risking of the project. Mineralization at the Cliff Creek zone extends for over 550 meters vertical. This is well below what we saw on this slide previously. So we went from about 300 meters vertical in early 2020 to now well over 550 meters. We're still waiting for some of these deeper holes, but in these deeper holes, we did see visible gold at depth. Key to moving this towards an engineering decision here is the metallurgy. Metallurgy tells us how much gold and silver we can pull from the rock. We produced some test work last year that showed metallurgy in excess of 98% gold and 97% on the silver. This is work that we'll be doing towards the PEA, but it looks to be a very conventional flow sheet with gravity and whole ore leaching as one method for the flow sheet, but also gravity and flotation will be a second method we'll be looking at doing comparables on towards the PEA. A quick snapshot on the results to date and sections. This is the Cliff Creek zone, explicitly the north end of the Cliff Creek zone. You can see very good, strong continuity of results from surface down. On the left-hand side of the image here, you can see some of the high-grade results that are stacked on top of each other from surface down to well over 300 meters depth, 22 meters of near 16 grams gold equivalent, and then down to well over 300 meters below that, you can see 15 meters of almost 11 grams gold equivalent. And then on the bulk tonnage opportunity, if you look on the right side of your screen, you can see these large, big bulk tonnage, long intercepts, 57 meters of near 3 grams gold equivalent from surface. And then if you were to look down near the bottom, you'll see another big long drill intercept of 45 meters of 1.5 grams. So the purpose of this is just to show the big long continuity from surface down to depth. It remains open. The drill results we put out recently are showing that these pit shells that we designed from 2019 data are already out of date. Our drilling is extending below these pit shells. There's good continuity, very good grade. So we anticipate the pit shells to go well below this existing line that you're seeing. Again, another section here on Cliff Creek South Zone. Cliff Creek South is starting to show equal, if not better results than the Cliff Creek North area. This is approximately 800 meters straight to the south of the Cliff Creek North area. You can see amazing continuity from surface down to depth. And in fact, in the Cliff Creek South, one of our recent drill results near the bottom there, 64 meters of almost 5 grams gold equivalent. So grade is increasing at depth. This is a great problem to have. And you can see the large swaths of long intercepts on the right-hand side of your screen. Gold and silver results from surface extending to depth. We're having big bulk tonnage numbers. You can see at the bottom of the screen, 221 meters of 1 gram material. And then as mentioned, at the bottom there, 64 meters of almost 5 grams. And so below these pit shells, we're also seeing opportunities here for high-grade material to be mined underground at depth below. And this is a part of our investigation that we'll be looking into in the preliminary economic assessment. I'm running short on time here, so I'll skip ahead a bit. But as mentioned, the opportunity here is not just with the three main zones, Cliff Creek, Dukes, and AGB. There's a bigger opportunity that can add to the story here with these new targets that we're developing, Lala, Marmot, Giver's Edge, Marmot East. You can see some very, very good grade material we've collected at surface, high grade gold and silver. The geophysics are indicating some very good structures on top of these grab samples at surface. And lo and behold, we drill tested the Marmot zone this year, or last year rather, and we put out a result in January, and this returned just over 100 meters of 0.82 grams gold equivalent. We only drilled 5 holes in the Marmot zone, but already this is starting to show potential for perhaps well over 1 million ounces. The geology at the Marmot zone and even the Marmot East zone is mimicking the same type of mineralization we're seeing at Cliff Creek. And this section here just goes into some of the grab samples, high-grade grab samples, and the drill result we saw at Marmot. This will be a source of drilling into 2021. We will be looking to expand the Marmot and Marmot East area. Again, some of the other target areas, Lala and Giver's Edge, large targets. You can see the soil samples are outlining these large anomalous zones. But on top of these geochem results, you're seeing high-grade gold and silver. Key to the permitting story here is we have created some very good partnerships with our First Nations in the vicinity. Our 4 primary First Nation partners are Takla Nation, Sekedene, Quadacha. We have signed an agreement with these three groups. We're working actively with them. We're looking to expand our partnership with them, use them more for consulting and employment opportunities, and involve them more in the process as we get towards a preliminary economic assessment. We are working in these partner nations' backyard, and so it's key to have them involved and have them know what a mining scenario looks like over the coming months. Tahltan Nation is our 4th partner. We have a signed agreement with Tahltan as well. So we've engaged and initiated baseline environmental studies as part of the permitting process. And this has included water sampling and hydrogeological studies, but also wildlife monitoring. And all of this work will increase as we go forward. And this is all part of the key to advancing this project on a as quick as possible basis here to get to a mining decision. And perhaps at this point, given the time, let's move towards some questions, and then I'll wrap things up with the key takeaways here. Dasha, please go ahead if you have questions.
Great, thank you so much, Jim. Yeah, let's just jump right into the live Q&A. We've got a few questions here. So Michael is asking, why does Benchmark Metals believe the Silver Pond is classified as a discovery? What type of gold, silver, and base metal indications have been observed?
Sure, so I didn't discuss Silver Pond directly, my apologies, Michael, but Silver Pond is indeed a potential new discovery. We still haven't released results from Silver Pond because we actually put the Silver Pond assays to the back of the line because all of the assays that were reporting to the resource were more important at this point. But what we're seeing at Silver Pond is potential for a deeper seated porphyry target. It will need more drilling this year to test where this porphyry is lying, but the indicators are that it's high sulfidation. Visual indicators are that there is some base metals content in addition to gold and silver in the core that we're seeing. However, it is going to need more work, perhaps some more geophysics, but there is potential in this package to see a porphyry. The question is, where is it? Is it deeper? It's a large 3 to 4 square kilometer area, so a lot more work's required, but certainly it is new discovery potential here and very different from the rest of the package.
Great, thank you. Peter is asking, will there be an NR for CC midzone in the near future?
Yeah, we will continue to release drill results here through the end of February and early March. We anticipate more drill results from the Cliff Creek zone, Duke's Ridge zone to Phoenix, and the AGB zone. But, you know, here's the issue. It's a good issue to have, but we fully anticipate all the results that are coming out will look very much like what we've already put out. You're going to see more big, long intercepts of moderate grade that extend from 50 to hundreds of meters. And within that, you're going to see some very high grade material that are enveloped by these long intercepts. And so we've reported these in 2018, 2019, 2020, and we will continue to intercept these through 2021. So yes, more drill results are coming.
All right. Ian is asking, excluding physical gold price fluctuation, either up and down, what can go wrong as you see progress?
At this point, we don't see any glaring red flags because our team has been through this scenario before where we've gone to discovery to production scenario. We're ticking off as many boxes as we can to de-risk the project. So most certainly gold and silver has an influence on our market capitalization. But I think with respect to macro environmental issues or macroeconomic issues rather, even at an $1,800 gold price, this project should be very economic. So I don't see any issues at this point. Metallurgy is exceptionally good. We're producing big, long gold and silver intercepts with high grade within it. We've got good First Nations agreements signed, and we continue to work with our First Nations partners. At this point, it's full steam ahead. We will produce a large multi-million ounce resource estimate in the next 1 to 2 months, and that'll be followed by a robust preliminary economic assessment this summer.
Great, thank you. Peter is asking, do you expect the SCP estimated strip ratio at CC to stay at approximately 4 to 1, or might it improve with actual known factors and assay results?
So the question here is based on Sprott Capital's research analyst coverage they've done on us. They reported some quite good results, and it's actually on target with what we've been reporting. But I believe the results from Sprott or their outlook, I think there's potential that Benchmark could improve upon the strip ratios that were announced. However, without having the resource in our hands, we can't directly report on that. But given the recent big, long bulk tonnage numbers that we've seen coming from the drill, there's every anticipation that we will have very economic strip ratios from this project. But once again, we need to see all of the drill results completed from the lab in order to create a new resource model and wireframes, and that's where the strip ratio is produced. So it's a hurry up and wait situation.
All right, thank you. We have a question here that's in German, and I don't speak German. Jim, do you speak German?
I don't, unfortunately.
No.
My apologies.
So I think what we'll do is translate this and email you, Benjamin, directly to answer your question. My apologies. We have a question from Martin, and he's asking about the gold price. Are you speaking from 1.8 Canadian or USD?
So I think he's asking at $1,800 US. Yes, at $1,800 US physical gold, we anticipate that the economics on this project should be very. Don't forget, there's also a big silver product within this potential mine at $27 silver US. That provides an opportunity for more revenue and better economics. So current gold prices do not phase us whatsoever. $1,800 US gold and $27 US silver are very good numbers and very supportive for this project. Of course, we think the gold and silver price is going to increase, but it's not necessary to make this economic.
Great. And Benjamin translated his question, which was great. So can the reports from Sprott Capital, Clarus Securities, and PI be posted on the Benchmark Metals website? The actions do not send them to the shareholders.
No, unfortunately, we cannot directly market and encourage these reports, although they do appear to be very good and quite accurate. Because they're not based on a formal economic report. So we encourage those who are listening to have a look at Sprott, Clarus, and the like, and Cormark. But we cannot report on them directly because they are not based on a technical report. However, there's a technical reports are coming very soon from Benchmark, and so at that point we can talk more directly on economics and numbers.
Great. Michael is asking, when does Benchmark Metals anticipate the startup of 2021 drilling?
I think we will be targeting perhaps an April or May time period. We'd like to start late spring, early summer. A portion of it is based on the amount of snowfall, but the earlier we get on the ground and drilling, the better. So it's on a wait and see type scenario here, but I fully expect that late spring we'll be back with drills on the ground and news coming.
Wonderful. What is the minimum estimated goal? And with the other drillings, will we get higher amounts?
So on drilling, we drilled 87,000 meters last year in 2020. As I mentioned, there's still more results to come. We will drill a minimum of 100,000 meters this year. But we're stuck in a position where we still need to see the final resource estimate to help plan our 2021 drilling. But if I were to provide a guesstimate here, I would say a minimum 100,000 meters. A majority of that drilling will go towards resource expansion and definition in the heart of the property, but a very large amount of meterage will go towards drilling Marmot and some other targets across the property. So it'll be a two-phased approach with drilling, resource expansion and new discovery drilling. And the new discoveries might actually provide new resource ounces for us in 2021. And so that's key to the story here. We have an immediate center of the property with main zones that have ounces in gold and silver. But the outliers, these new targets we're advancing, have potential to report ounces as well.
Great. David is saying $100 per ounce gold is good. What would be the lower limit per ounce to raise a concern?
I'm afraid, David, I can't report on that without having our economics completed at this point. So perhaps in 5 months' time, we can report on that more directly, but without having truly all of the engineering and cost work, a bit of a gray area. But I can say there are some comparables for capital expenditures and mining costs, and perhaps one of the closer comparables might be Marathon Gold, and I think Benchmark has potential to exceed or better those results they have.
All right, another question here from Peter. For how many months does Benchmark have majors monitoring the progress in the data room now?
So we have confidentiality agreements signed with many third parties, and most companies do when you start reporting some exceptional results. The data room will be more active when the resource is completed here in approximately 6 weeks' time. So we can't mention who the third parties are, but there is some very good interest. And I would say after each news release we put out, new entities become interested in the story. So yes, we're doing all the work we can to show that you can build a mine on this project. But if a third party came along and offered a good premium for shareholders, I'm sure Benchmark would take this. And so we're working towards a takeout decision, but at the same time, we're working towards a mining decision. And that is what is encouraging other mining entities to look at Benchmark.
Great. Ulrich is asking, last year there was an announcement for drilling about 200,000 meters in 2021. Why is this no longer the goal?
So look, 200 meters actually could be achievable with the cash we have in the treasury. But the question here is are we a drilling company, or are we a company who's going to drill for real results? And so there's still a small chance that maybe we drill up to 200,000 meters, but without having the resource estimate fully completed, we truly need that geological model to serve as a frame for us to decide how we move forward properly. So effectively, we know we can drill minimum 100,000 meters. And perhaps the best decision here is to drill one for resource expansion, new discoveries, but also drill for engineering purposes to advance to a mining decision. So we're trying to achieve the best value for money, and sometimes just drilling for sake of drilling doesn't create an increase in the market cap. So these are decisions that we're looking into as we plan for drilling in 2021 over the next 2 months.
Great. Michael is asking, Benchmark clearly has a very large land package. However, would Benchmark consider adding to this package before they announce an RE or PEA?
I'd say at this point in time, our land package and the new targets that we've developed across this 20-kilometer trend is so enormous that our hands are full. And I'd say at this point, we're not considering adding more land simply because there's too many new targets to drill. There's too many opportunities within our existing big package.
Great. One last question here. Once the resource estimate is announced, what is Benchmark Metals' expectation regarding the participation of a strategic partner?
So at this point, we're not considering strategic partnerships or joint ventures. We're not discussing them with any entities, simply because we have 2 large milestones coming, and we need to see the market cap of the company move before we talk earnestly to other endeavors. However, that doesn't mean it's not an opportunity. And as we go forward here and put out these milestones, perhaps there's an opportunity for a joint venture. Perhaps there's an opportunity for a takeout. Perhaps there's an opportunity for a major to take an equity position in the company. But I think we have to show bigger value in the company with these milestones, and we will.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for taking us through the presentation and the Q&A. And thank you to everyone who submitted questions. If you think of a question after the summit, we'll be emailing out a short survey, and the Benchmark Metals team will be happy to follow up with you directly. You can also find more on their website at benchmarkmetals.com. And the presentation from today is also available for download under the Handouts tab on the right-hand side here. I'll just pass it back to you, Jim, for the final word.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for your patience on a long-winded seminar. This presentation will also be available very soon on the benchmarkmetals.com website. If you do have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or any one of my colleagues. You can see some email addresses on the screen. There will be more news forthcoming here, drill results over the coming weeks to months. And as investors, thank you for supporting Benchmark.